Hello, everyone, for a very special occasion where we are continuing off of our recording of the Twilight Princess manga. And in this episode, we are going to cover Chapter 7 and Chapter 8 of Volume 1, which is the monster who devours fear and Into the Twilight. And boy, did it end on a high note in the previous chapter. But anyway, how are you doing, Jamie?
I'm doing pretty well. Right now, I'm kind of nervous for Link. Just looking at these first few panels of the manga, he's definitely in some trouble. So I'm anxious and I'm ready to see how he gets out of this. But yeah, I'm doing well. I'm excited to talk more Twilight Princess.
In case, for those that forgot, the previous chapter ends with Link getting sucked into darkness, but gets grabbed by a skeleton warrior, considering the armor he clearly wears, and he gets pulled into that darkness, which ends up being which we know is him retelling to Russell, considering he sit there talking about his past,
Hmm.
and he explains how he suddenly was alone and everything had disappeared. And I don't know about you, but feeling guilty of an entire country as disappearing right before, just because you were able to do something that others didn't. It takes a toll on your consciousness.
Oh, absolutely. And just to think that, you know, why is this happening to me specifically? Because again, like the first guy, he pulls a sword, nothing happens. But for Link, the whole world disappears after that. So he's like,
Yeah,
why, like, what's so special about me, but in a not so positive way. So yeah, I can see why he's such a mess. And then thinking about it, he's kind of a great actor in these first few chapters.
yeah,
Because yeah, had any of this happened to me, I don't know if I could pretend to be so like cheery and loving as Link was. But maybe part of that was part of his healing process and just trying to move on from the situation.
exactly. I
As
hate
we
to
can
doing
see, yeah,
doing
he's
I hate doing the analogy, but some part of his behavior makes me in the earlier chapters now makes me think of Robin Williams, considering how he trying to be the bubbly, positive, all that guy, and we all know how that ended. But luckily, Link is not ending up the same way. I'm not gonna speak directly because potential trigger words, but fans of Robin Williams know what I'm talking about. This is Russell's reaction to the whole backstory. It's good. It shows that, how should I put it, truly that he has a friend right now,
hmm yeah, I
and he
feel
has
like
someone that he can trust.
yeah, I feel like in a lot of anime or even just like media like this where you're telling like these horrifying stories, like the person across from you is also going to look equally as horrified. And as someone who's like telling that story, you might see it as like a, oh, they're reacting to my story, or maybe they're reacting to me and the part that I played in this like terrible event. But with like Russell, you see he has like a very compassionate looking face and very understanding. It's like, oh, I see, like I understand you now and why you act the way that you act. And we see him have like a more sorrowful expression rather than fearful, because right now he's just thinking about how all this has impacted Link rather than how Link is possibly impacting the village, because right now he sees Link as a positive force, and I think that's really interesting
Yeah,
too.
and just the fact that he put an sort of like just putting an arm on his shoulder and just thank you for trusting me, Link. That's that's something positive.
Right.
As in that just shows that he trusts him, kind of deal.
Yeah.
But see someone going over there, and he pushes a link towards. Finally, has showing off his swordsman skills in run into the forest with a sword in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he is quite. He questioned himself for what is. It says later, I forfeited the honor of wielding a sword when I caused the death of so many people. I lost my sense of duty and the right to call myself a protector of the people. But now I will protect my village. And it just. He embraces the fact that maybe I can live in this. Or sort of like maybe I can be accepted for the village, then not just being a regular dude. Is that the right term?
Yeah, I think it's also kind of like him saying, like, you know what, like me trying to hide this part of myself is only going to hurt the village right now. So I need to put like the village's needs first, and then I will think about how I want to proceed once everyone is safe. Like I can put the sword down when everybody is safe. So yeah, him just kind of he really is just taking up this hero role and saying like, no matter what, I need to do what I can to help the people that I love and that I care about.
And now then, when he gets he runs to the bridge. Well, I know that I sound like a broken record considering the previous episodes where you almost could do a drinking game about it. You see the army of monsters yet again, them looking at people and all that, yes. Looking
Hmm.
straight out of Berserk. Especially the where you just see the monster, not just in the moonlight and nothing else by that. And well, the dead villagers, from what I assume is one of the monster's weapons.
Hmm.
And of course, we see poor Colin getting a bad. His consciousness becomes even worse after Ilya is jumping across, jump towards him just to protect Colin from an arrow that one of the goblins shoots towards
Hmm.
Colin. I mean, poor kid.
Yeah, he's witnessed and been traumatized quite a lot on this day.
That's an understatement, I dare argue. And seeing that it was too late, I would you can call it being too late to save the people at the bridge. It just makes the whole thing going on even worse, considering it just looks so. Should I say hopeless?
Yeah, Link's arrival definitely brings the drama back to the scene because like you were saying, like he arrives, I wouldn't say too late, but it's definitely like some damage has been done. And even that alone is just upsetting to see, like, he doesn't want anybody to come out of this hurt. Like he already said earlier that this is his fault. So the fact that now there are further repercussions other than just the darkness invading the village, now people are being hurt and even killed. It's a very rough situation. And to see him, like, there's a panel where it's just like a extreme close up of Link, and he's looking across the bridge and seeing like the demons, seeing Ilya hurt. It definitely it makes him spring into action, and he's like, okay, like I need to move now.
Yeah, and boy, does he impress! Does a good first impression when he attacks the what I am assuming is the leader of the goblins. When you see him holding both Ilya and Colin hostage,
Mm-hmm.
going so far to just jump up in the air and attacks what I assume is his arm or spine. I can't really tell from that angle, and just jumps away like it's nothing.
Yeah, Link's in action mode now.
I mean, he's supposed to be a soldier, so.
Mm-hmm. It's time to show off.
But
And I really like this scene because kind of moving a little bit further, we get a standoff. We see really Link really lock into like this battle and realizing, he has to kind of bring that soldier training that he might have repressed for so long back out, not only to keep his friends alive, but right now he's at risk of possibly dying as well. So, again, adding to that further tension that has been building over the volume um, up to this moment where Link has a big fight and he's finally returning to the battlefield. It's a lot of fun and really exciting, very tense.
Yeah, it doesn't help when it comes to he is going to could end up dying, knowingly that the chapter 7 ends with him getting his arm cut off by the leader.
Yeah, I
He
was
loses
not
the
ready for
fight.
that. I was
I
not
mean,
ready for that at all.
that's nothing you really would expect from a. Sure, Twilight Princess is arguably the darkest, or should one of the darkest in. I would call both Breath of the Wild and especially Tears of the Kingdom quite dark, but I don't know. Which one would you call it? From what you know, the darkest Zelda game? Majora's Mask,
Um,
maybe? Twilight Princess?
I think if I had to say right now, I would say Twilight Princess. I'm actually like maybe 3 hours away from beating Tears of the Kingdom. So we'll have to see how Tears of the Kingdom ends for me to change my opinion. But if you ask me right now, I'm saying Twilight Princess is the darkest, not just in art style, but also in tone. And
Hmm.
even, this manga, it definitely um, helps that argument as far as the darkness goes.
And is there anything you want to point out with the chapter before we move on to the last chapter of the volume?
I really love the action in this chapter and the way that like it really shows you that these enemies are a threat. That's something about just me personally in storytelling of all kinds of mediums. Like, why should I be afraid of Ganon, or why should I be afraid of Vader? Like, unless they show me a reason why I should be afraid, or and like intimidate me in some kind of way, the villain kind of doesn't stick the landing for me. But with this manga, we immediately see, like they've already injured, if not killed, multiple people. They've taken Colin and Ilya captive. They're like threatening to do like weird things with them. um, and they're all kind of ganging up on Link. And then Link ends up losing this first big battle. That immediately cements to me, like, oh, okay, like these people are a threat. They're like enemies that I need to be careful with, and whenever I see them next, they're like enemies I'm going to be wary of. It's not just going to be like a Mr. Hercule situation where it's like, oh, it's just Mr. Hercule, like he's just gonna play around, then Goku will like beat him, or Goku will let him win, and everybody will walk home happy at the end of the day. Like, no, like these enemies are out here to do serious damage, and they don't care who they hurt as long as we're all on the same team.
Agreed. Agreed. And it doesn't. So, Matt, shall we move on to the last chapter of the volume?
Yes, let's do it. Let's not keep our viewers waiting with bated breath. Link just lost an
Yeah.
arm, Isaac.
Yeah.
This is serious.
And then let's go to Into the Twilight, where it's directly following up to, well, the battle that he lost because
Mm-hmm.
the chief's skin was too much to handle for that sword, to say the least. You see them, well, technically just laughing at what you expect to be his dying corpse,
Mm-hmm.
lying there with a face at river. You see him, the goblin. Yes, are they goblins here? Yeah, they are.
I think they call him Bokoblin at some point. But they're goblins, but kind
But
of.
let's say the boss, because considering the mediums call him that.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, we must change as many temples as possible into shadow territory, which you can wonder if it's connected to the, which is so expected to be maybe connected to chapter 1. But then we have the obvious sort of thing that, well, even though it was just, what the heck, that he lost his arm, Link kind of gets resurrected at the spot when they leave, and that's thanks to his birthmark
Mm-hmm.
and the spirits that lives within the lake. I can understand him just waking up, just wonder what is going on, considering you assumed that you were dead, let alone got your arm cut off. This isn't like, I know that I'm just using a One Piece reference again. It's not like Shanks just losing an arm and yet still, for some reason, is able to just walk away like it's nothing.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I was just as surprised as Link watching all of that unfold and him getting his arm back and kind of, I don't know, kind of a little bit in a daze, similar to myself when reading this. I'm like, oh, okay. But I'm glad you pointed out the spirit of the lake, because I saw that like the horned animals that he was herding earlier, like I saw one of them in that image. So I was wondering what is going on here. But now that you say the spirit of the lake, I'm like, oh, okay, all kind of comes together, because somebody did mention that earlier in previous chapters. Um, but yeah, that's Link got very lucky with the where he, I guess, got defeated. So, he's got to take it in stride.
Yeah. Now when he runs off into the town again after finding, well, Elias' bag, I can't really say anything, but these mangakas know exactly what they're doing when it comes to ending on high notes.
Hmm.
Because we see Link getting dragged into a portal, essentially getting transformed all of a sudden by being attacked by a. It probably assumed that they were being able to transform them to one of its own, but no, he transforms into a wolf, which goes
Oh,
back to what we talked about before.
surprise, surprise. The wolf is back.
Yeah, the wolf is back kind of deal. Yet he passes out, and well, he gets dragged away. But then we see someone talking at the background about that Soulings formed, and they clearly have an interest in Link, uh, because, well, he didn't become just a monster like everyone else, and of course, that's where they end the chapter.
Yep. That's where it closes off.
What do you think of the whole ending of it all?
Well, knowing who this person is that we see at the end, I'm happy and interested, but also like sad. I'm like, you would do this to me. You would leave me off on this cliffhanger. um, so yeah, I'm very interested to see like how this person guides this journey, if there are any differences from the video game. But as far as Link kind of being taken away and now transformed into Wolf Link, I'm I'm curious as to, I guess, because again, in the Zelda games, you don't really get to hear Link speak, and that also includes Wolf Link. So I'm wondering, does he have like a similar mindset as when he was a human, or if he thinks differently because he's a wolf now, or what the situation is with that, and maybe even the dark thoughts that we saw in previous chapters, do those return now, especially because he's connecting with a darker side of himself. So very curious as to how that's going to play out. Also, who the monster or demon is that has kind of taken him in. How is that going to work out for Link? Because we just saw a fight where he did not win. So maybe Wolf Link will have some better luck. But yeah, they definitely know, like you were saying, how to make some good cliffhangers, because boy am I hanging on to the cliff right now, trying to wait with bated breath till the next volume.
Yeah, I feel sorry for, like I said, for those that have read it without play the game. I feel so sorry for those that follow this weekly, bi-weekly, or however they released it back in Japan. It had to be infuriating, but anyway. Is it anything else you want to cover on this chapter before we end things off?
No, I'm just I want to thank you for inviting me to read this manga with you. I know you talked about it at a few different podcasts, so I was glad to hop onto the opportunity to read it with you, since Viz Media is releasing it digitally.
Well, so we have more volumes to go on through, so
yeah, I'm excited to get to them.
Yeah, and well, with that said, what where can we find you, Jamie, on the interwebs?
Well, you guys can find me at swiper_art on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and here on YouTube at swiper_prime, and Twitch as well. And also, I'm part of the Chatter After podcast, where we talk about pop culture, TV, movie news, and we also do reviews over there, so be sure to check it out.
Nice. Well, you can find me here. But you can also find me over at Emblemaniac on Twitter, and you can also, I'm hopefully when this recording is up, have finished my own site, so to speak, and where I'm going to, or started to, depending on how it all go on. Right, whatever, be it movies, video games, what have you, and we shall. The future me shall see what if, or see how that happens. But anyway, if you like this video, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you enjoyed this manga, what are your thoughts of it so far? We would love to know. And with that said, have an awesome one, everyone. Peace.
Peace.